The Book of the Damned, by Charles Hoyfort, Chapter 3c. As to yellow substances that have fallen upon this earth, the endeavor to exclude extra-mundane origins is the dogma that all yellow rains and yellow snows are colored with pollen from this earth's pine trees. Simmons' Meteorological Magazine is especially prudish in this respect and regards as highly improper all advances made by other explainers. Nevertheless, the Monthly Weather Review, May 1877, reports a golden yellow fall of February 27, 1877, at Peklo, Germany, in which 4 kinds of organisms, not pollen, were the coloring matter. There were minute things shaped like arrows, coffee beans, horns, and discs. They may have been symbols. They may have been objective hieroglyphics. Mere passing fancy, let it go. In the Annals di Chimie, Volume 85, page 288, there is a list of rains said to have contained sulfur. I have 30 or 40 other notes. I'll not use one of them. I'll admit that every one of them is upon a fall of pollen. I said, to begin with, that our methods would be the methods of theologians and scientists, and they always begin with an appearance of liberality. I grant 30 or 40 points to start with. I'm as liberal as any of them, or that my liberality won't cost me anything, the enormousness of the data that we shall have, or just to look over a typical instance of this dogma and the way it works out. In the American Journal of Science, Series 1, Volume 42, page 196, we are told of a yellow substance that fell by the bucketful upon a vessel, one windless night in June, in Pictou Harbour, Nova Scotia. The writer analyzed the substance, and it was found to give off nitrogen and ammonia and an animal odor. Now, one of our intermediatist principles, to start with, is that so far from positive in the aspect of homogeneousness, are all substances, that, at least in what is called an elementary sense, anything can be found anywhere. Mahogany logs on the coast of Greenland, bugs of a valley on top of Mount Blanc, atheists at a prayer meeting, ice in India. For instance, chemical analysis can reveal that almost any dead man was poisoned with arsenic, we'll say, because there is no stomach without some iron, lead, tin, gold, arsenic in it and of it, which, of course, in the broader sense, doesn't matter much, because a certain number of persons must, as a restraining influence, be executed for murder every year, and, if detectives aren't able really to detect anything, illusion of their success is all that is necessary, and it is very honorable to give up one's life for society as a whole. The chemist who analyzed the substance of Pictou sent a sample to the editor of the journal. The editor of course found pollen in it. My own acceptance is that there'd have to be some pollen in it. That nothing could very well fall through the air in June near the pine forests of Nova Scotia and escape all floating spores of pollen. But the editor does not say that this substance contained pollen. He disregards nitrogen and ammonia and an animal odor and says that the substance was pollen. For the sake of our 30 or 40 tokens of liberality, or pseudo-liberality, if we can't be really liberal, we grant that the chemist of the first examination probably wouldn't know an animal odor if he were janitor of a menagerie. As we go along, however, there can be no such sweeping ignoring of this phenomenon. The fall of animal matter from the sky. I'd suggest, to start with, that we'd put ourselves in the place of deep-sea fishes. How would they account for the fall of animal matter from above? They wouldn't try, or it's easy enough to think of most of us as deep-sea fishes of a kind.